up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Sports to the Wire. For those of you who are actually new to the show, I am your host, Rashid. The man on the other side of the fence there is Barrick, and
Oh gosh,
and Kenneth Murray, special guest, rejoining us once
getting
again.
up to the Murray.
Yeah, K to the M. Check out his YouTube channel, Revolution and Revelation. The link will be in the description. Very riveting stuff, man. Especially definitely when you do check it out. Look on the episode of No. I said this is Mrs. Malcolm X stuff right here, man.
Oh,
Malcolm
man.
X level stuff here, man. Malcolm X level stuff.
They don't
Malcolm
think.
X level
They
stuff.
don't think.
All right, so we got Colin Kaepernick is back, man. I mean, it was one of the most popular shows last week, and then Barrick again wanted to touch up on this stuff, man. He wanted to get back into Colin Kaepernick and especially Kenneth Murray, man. He's highly offended about what goes on in terms of race with the NFL and why Kaepernick, can't get a job, but other NFL athletes can get a job for much more egregious things. Barrick or Kenneth, y'all want to lead? You want to start off first, or
I'll get this thing. I'll get this thing going on because this is something I got underneath my neck here, and it's got my fire going. I just want to put it out there. Let's not forget the man named Nate Boyer. Remember the name Nate Boyer? He's the Green Beret, ex-Green Beret, ex-NFL player that basically put this whole thing into Colin Kaepernick's head that it's okay to get down one knee and show how you feel about police violence against black people in America. Now, with that being said, he did just that, and many players followed behind him. Many NFL players, both black and white, followed behind him until the NFL owners said this is a problem, it's ruining our bottom line. And there's people on the outside world, mostly Caucasian fans, who said, no, I won't be watching the NFL anymore because of this going on. So little by little, it stopped. Now you had over 1,696 cases against NFL players for domestic abuse, for robbery, okay, for assault. And yet these individuals, and this is from 2000, from when Colin Kaepernick first kneeled down to the present. And these people are still employed in the NFL.
Yep.
Why? We should know. Ken is going to go into the information in a minute. But at the end of the day, why is this happening? Why can't a man
let me answer that real quick. I just guess it depends on the actual consumers. I mean, the NFL actually pride itself on the American flag and Patriots, being a Patriot, and now you're going against that and saying that America sucks.
The situation.
I want to answer Rashid on that. Rashid, I hate to say this to you, brother.
I'm not saying it's my opinion. I'm not saying it's my opinion. I'm just telling you how they're actually viewing it.
Okay, that's how they're viewing it. But the NFL is about one thing and one thing only. I want to make sure I'm clear about this. They're about the shield. They're about that NFL logo that you see, the red, white, and blue colors that are inside that shield.
Barrick, they prided themselves on that. They showed the flag and represented the flag and being a patriot. And it was all about the United States of America.
I think we all know the lyrics. We all know the lyrics of the Star Spangled Banner, don't we? We do know the back behind that whole Star Spangled Banner song. We don't need to get into that now, do we?
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't.
Okay. So if they're about that, then we all wrong. Because you got African American players. You got African American GMs. Well, you only have one right now. You had 4. You have African American coaches, 4 of them. Okay, based on the Rooney rule, that's been the owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They all went out there and said, "Listen, you are going to interview black potential head coaches, or there's going to be a problem in this league."
Interviewing them actually give them a job is 2 totally different things.
Well, they have jobs. You have 4 black coaches in the NFL now. You give them jobs. Okay, so if you have, I'm putting all this out there because if this is going to be what you're going to do, why can't this man who got advice from an ex-Green Beret, an ex-NFL player, who said, "I think it's the best thing in the world to go ahead and do this"?
But is that actually confirmed though?
It's confirmed. It's confirmed. Yes. It is confirmed. And you got all these players, 1,696 players who have done heinous acts, who are still wearing uniforms, who are still earning millions of dollars. It's a problem. It's a problem. And then you got Roethlisberger. Well, I'm going to let Kenneth jump on that one. Who done the most heinous act? Allegedly raping a college student. Yet he's got 18 years in the NFL, 2 Super Bowl championships, and he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Kaepernick had the team talent at the time. He was in a Super Bowl. He showed he can lead and galvanize his teammates. Why is this man sitting on the outside and everyone else can go and rob and steal and hit a woman and they still can play ball?
Wasn't Kaepernick like a system quarterback in a sense though? Like he like in a sense like Tom Brady.
It doesn't matter. I'll tell you something. Behind Michael Vick, behind Randall Cunningham and a few other quarterbacks, Steve Young, there were a few running quarterbacks out there that got to a Super Bowl. He wasn't a system quarterback. He was a quarterback that just basically turned the whole 49er organization upside down. It wasn't about Joe Montana or Steve Young anymore. Now it was Kaepernick's team, and he led them to a Super Bowl, and they were on the cusp of winning a championship right there and then. Now all of a sudden, a few years later, he's banned and blackballed from the NFL. Again, with all this crap going on around with the COVID-19 and other players out there. And of course, I'm going to give you 4 names right now. Michael Bennett, Michael Jenkins, Kenny Stills, and Albert Wilson. They all still continue to kneel to this day, and they're still in the NFL. And they're still in the NFL. So we got a major problem what's going on here. That's why I'm so hot about it. You brought that topic up last week. You want to get my information on this. This is my issue right now. And it pisses me the hell off that we got this whole concept going on along with COVID-19, which is probably starting to cover up the whole kneeling thing as it is. It's not forgotten. It's just being covered up. When COVID-19 gone, we're going to be readdressing this whole thing with the kneeling thing. Okay? We are going to. You know why? Because this Colin Kaepernick thing will never go away because of these same concepts. Now, Kenny, what say you, brother?
Racism in sports mirrors the inequities in society, and only a revolution will achieve any change. White people who are known by society get to operate with practical importunity, and when they get busted for a wrongdoing or a statement, there is actually a blueprint for them to follow, and it works to the letter. The first thing they do is they say, "I feel so ashamed." They cry in front of the camera and they give apologies. The second thing they do is they feel guilty. You always hear they're going into therapy. The third thing they do is they become repentant. They become the actual spokesperson for the crime they actually commit. Oh, I am here spokesman against domestic violence. The next thing they do is they have temporary measures of repentance. They do community service so society can see them giving back. And in the midst of all that, they get what's called support. That means other white people and non-white people, they come to their defense. Oh, give him a second chance. Can't you see what he's been through? And the next thing, they are off the hook. These are the 6 things that they do. What I just stated is what every white person does to get off the hook. From Ben Roethlisberger to Pete Rose, okay? It is what they do by the letter. Some get to move on and some don't. But if you are black, you do not move on. You go directly into forced retirement. If you don't believe me, look at Michael Vick. Okay? Michael Vick is in forced retirement. He will never play again. Okay? You take a look at Colin Kaepernick, forced retirement, okay? Now, he's not given a second chance. This is why the black athlete needs to do more than what they're doing now. They need to have a plan B, okay? What is happening to Colin Kaepernick is a object lesson for every black person. When you speak truth to power, this is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens.
This is going to be really, really good, man. This is going to be a really, really riveting discussion, man. Especially in the comments section, man. I know it. Barrick, your response to that?
Well, my response is I think he's covered pretty much everything there is on that, because I think my anger right now for this situation will remain the same until I see the man put a uniform on. But I just know right now he will not ever put an NFL.
Is he good though? That's the whole thing, man. We can't just give Colin Kaepernick a job because he wants one. It's a hyper competitive sport. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. Is Colin Kaepernick actually good enough? We had
this discussion a long time ago. If he was, and I hate to say if he was good because he is, but if he was putting butts in the seat, they would have let this slide. Okay? When Ben Roethlisberger did that little stuff that he did, guess what? He was putting butts in the seat. They took a chance and said, hey, look, let's just look beyond this because we're heading for the Super Bowl. Okay? But when you're black, you're held to a much higher standard than just let's look beyond this. The only white person that I know that white people just looked at and said, no, we're not giving you a second chance is Pete Rose. Okay? Yeah. To this day, he can't go into the Hall of Fame. With all the stuff that he did, that one thing he did, betting on baseball, it blemished his record. Now he's one who followed the blueprint. He did the community service. He did the tears. He said, I'm sorry. He did all this stuff. And at the end of the day, he said, nope. You're not getting in. Nope.
But that wasn't the fans. That's not the fans that actually didn't want Pete Rose back. That's his MLB.
Who do you think did the voting, sir? Who do you think?
I'm talking about the fans. And the fans didn't want.
Okay,
in this case.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, Michelle. I didn't mean to interrupt. Let me just say this. In regards to who is responsible for putting you in the Hall of Fame is the beat writers. The sports writers are the ones that are responsible.
Yeah, and in this case, the fans doesn't want Colin Kaepernick. I don't think it's anything personal.
It's not their call. It's not their call.
They're the ones actually consuming the product, Barrick. Of course.
But what are you talking about? He had an ad for Nike, and Nike sales went through the roof.
Yeah, he's working for Nike right now, and they're still buying Nike gear with his face on there. So it's not about that, brother. It's not about that at all.
The ratings are down. Were down because listen, the numbers don't lie.
They weren't that far down. COVID-19 is making it worse, but that happened in every sport. What's happening in his particular guys in the situation is because he did something that was not known to happen. We kept seeing all these black kids and black men falling at the wayside by police brutality, by being shot.
It wasn't 13 million black people in this country.
Do not
9 last year got killed.
Do that. You are minimizing.
I'm not doing that. 13 million. Come on, man. I care for those people. Don't get me wrong. But we're not going to be selective over here. There's other things affecting the black community over here, man.
One black person that gets harmed by a police officer is wrong.
Well, why it got to be only the cops, though? Why it can't be diabetes affecting the black?
Because they're the ones that are doing the killing. Why do you
more black people die from diabetes, Kenneth, than police shootings?
Look,
what about the black
that's fine and dandy, but that's not what he stood for. That's not what he stood for.
No, I'm just saying. I just thought to me he's being a hypocrite when you're just like focusing on one thing. Because you're focusing on one thing. You're focusing on one thing. There's a lot of things that Kenneth can personally attest to this, and he knows it.
I can attest to it too. Listen, if I am a celebrity, and every celebrity has a particular cause that they want to follow, whether it's autism or cancer, where the case is, shouldn't he take a choice, right? Kaepernick took a choice what he wanted to fight against. He didn't fight against cancer. He fought against police brutality against black men. He took a knee.
And let us remember, the same thing was done in the 1960s. It wasn't kneeling. It was a black man who threw his right fist in the air so that he can basically say, I'm here and I'm doing this for the brothers in the street that are rioting and taking care of business over there. Okay? Remember, you can sit for the national anthem. You can kneel for the national anthem.
I get that. I get that, but it goes against the NFL brand in a sense, though.
No, it does not go against the NFL brand. Look, Tim Tebow kneeled before he played baseball. No one said anything when that white man got on his knees and said a prayer. Do you
That's
understand?
That's the
No
problem
one
we
said
got.
Tim Tebow got on his knee and said a prayer, and you heard nothing about, why is he taking the knee? He did it for religious reasons. Now, what is the difference between doing it for religious reasons and doing it for social injustice?
There's a big difference in this particular case. It's a big difference for Mr. Kaepernick. Why? This is what we've been talking about. Why isn't the problem against this man? Why?
Could it be because he's black?
I just don't think it's because he's black. I really don't think that. I mean, the man's
Well,
worth
I would
$200 million.
expect you to say that,
Listen,
sir. I would expect you to say that.
What's that?
I would expect you to say that, sir, because anything that black people do that white people don't like, you basically jump on the black person and you think it's okay and cool to do so, but it's not. In this particular case, this man.
No. I'm taking a neutral approach to this.
There is no neutrality, sir. There is no neutrality. It's like being pregnant.
I'm just trying to put like you have a business and you're selling a particular product. You have about 5 or 10 products that you have or items, and your customers are saying, "Hey, we don't want this." Then
stop.
And you still continue to sell it. Then they're not going to go to you. So I'm just putting myself. I'm not taking sides here. I'm just looking at it from.
That's your problem. That is your problem.
See, here's the thing, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You refuse to take a stand on the side of justice. You want to sit back and be neutral. You cannot be neutral when your people are dying in the street. Even Kevin,
9 people, Kenneth. And I just told you about a couple of minutes ago. I do care for those people, but I also do care.
I can run off a whole list of black people that died at the hands of police brutality. Okay,
it was 9 last year. In 2019, it was 9 blacks.
Well, how many was it the year that Kaepernick kneeled down?
I gotta go look.
It was a lot. It was more than 9.
I gotta go look.
I gotta get the exact number, but I can tell you right now, it was more than 9. You kept seeing it happen over and over and over and over, and it got to a point where. And I'm gonna tell you something. This man was in the league before all this was happening. I mean, he was ascending. He was doing his thing. This man was in the Super Bowl. Starting in the Super Bowl, 2.5 years that they found the man on the damn street. Okay? This man was ascending. Then, after
there was a drop-off. You can't front about that. There was a drop-off in his production.
It was a drop-off in his production, but that's not why he's out the NFL. He still had a job even when he was descending. He still had a job.
Is he a start, in your opinion? Let's forget about all the woke nonsense and the social justice warrior. Let's just focus on his skill set. Is he a starting quarterback in the NFL?
At this moment in time, he should be. And I think that the honest answer is the man can throw the football 50 yards down the field with zip. He can throw the out pattern, he can throw the slant, he can throw the cross, he can throw the deep out. He can make all the NFL throws. He still has mobility to avoid pressure in the pocket. So I'm giving you the breakdown, and with that breakdown, the answer is yes.
Now let us talk about the elephant in the room, okay? Colin Kaepernick sued his boss and he won.
Right.
So the situation is that, if you sue me and you win, I don't think I have to hire you back. But what I will do is I'll give you a tryout. I'm not going to hire you, but I'm going to give you a tryout.
And what happened with that tryout? What did Colin Kaepernick do?
Well, you know what he did. You know what he did. He put all these little shirt and advertisements on there. He's still sticking to his game plan. And you know what? Let me go on the record and say this, guys. If you're going to stand for something, you might as well be counted for it. He's not going to shy away from it now.
That's it. Once you cross the line against injustice, you don't go back and say maybe we can compromise. There is no compromise. You don't play game. You don't play games with a rattlesnake. You don't play games with a king cobra. You chop off its head and you keep it moving. Okay? And the situation is that every single time that they bring up these articles about Kaepernick, all it does is just opens up a wound against the American judicial system.
Exactly. This is why I wanted to attack this, man, because it won't go away until there's got to be some sort. What does the American people want with Kaepernick? If you're on Kaepernick's side, we want to see him go out and prove himself and say, yeah, this is the way to do it. I want to show all the young kids growing up that when you see something wrong, fight for your right. Okay? I think some of those kids got that point. Now, at the same time, he had no choice but to sue him. Why? Because wait a minute, you're telling me now that I can't make a choice of how I want to handle the national anthem? So now you're going to blackball me? I have no choice but to sue you. And no reason why they won, because he had the right. But at the same time, I am an NFL. I'm a black man who can play the game of the NFL, and I should be playing. So all the other players out there can do 3 times worse than what he's doing. As I said before, robbing, stealing, and they can still put a uniform on.
I know. I definitely hear you. But it's up to the consumer to actually make that judgment.
The consumer's putting a guy who's accused of assault.
I agree. I mean, it depends. It depends on how the consumer looks at it. You know, some people might think it's bad. You know, some people might think, it's actually you can forgive stuff like that. You know,
the judicial system in America is bad. Okay, when you're white and do things, you get a pass. Mm-hmm. When you're black and do things, you don't get a pass. All right. The judicial system in this country.
But let me ask you something, Barrick and Kenneth. Do you blame the media for this in a sense? Does the media have anything to do with this?
Listen, the media can make you famous, brother. The media can make you or break you. You know that.
It's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know what? The media can't be held responsible for what. All they can do is their job. Their job was to report.
No, I mean the media actually overhyping the Kaepernick thing, just taking it out of context.
They had to overhype it because it went from a small fire and it turned into a brush fire, and it turned into a whole big giant overlapping of the. Yeah, exactly. It turned into a big inferno. And they had no choice but to take it for where it was. This is for all the media outlets. This was one of the biggest topics of all time. We had to run with this to the wheels fall off, and they did.
Well, the judicial system in this country is separate when it comes to blacks and whites. I'll be very, very clear. The judicial system in this country is racist. Okay, it's built on racism. Racism is not a question of attitude. Racism is a question of power. Racism gets its power from capitalism. Capitalism is a system that must be dismantled. Capitalism has no future at all for the people in America. Point blank. Capitalism is a bloodsucker, and a bloodsucker is a bloodsucker. Point blank.
All right. So what other systems out there it's better than a free market capitalist system right now? What place in the world? What place in the world can you
From my point of view, I believe in socialism, communism, because my people were sold as product under the capitalistic system, and I refuse to be a part of it. So I will work in this capitalistic society and take my money and further an agenda against that. I will use its money against it. You understand what I'm saying?
So why do you actually have people from all around the world right now that wants to come to America, huh? They want to leave. They want to escape socialism.
The land of opportunity.
All right, but Kenneth said there's nothing here. It's toxic. It's poison. Because they want to come to America.
Because you and I both know that the International Monetary Fund has broken other countries using America as its muscle.
Way before the IMF, brother. Way before the International Monetary Fund. Way before the IMF.
I'm not done, sir. The IMF has broken other countries using the Americans as their muscle, and now it makes people in other countries cannot afford to stay there, so they come to capitalism so that they can survive. That's why they come to America, because their country has been broken by the American system, fostered up by the IMF. That's why they come to this country. They're not coming here basically because they want to. They're coming here because they are leaving a country that is economically broke. That's why they're coming here, sir. So capitalism is bad, okay? Now, if you want to go into this a little bit deeper, I could, but it comes down to this. The problem, as I see it, is white people. They are the problem. They hold the keys to everything, and anytime that they want to, they can hurt people by shutting off the water or shutting it back on. This is what they do. It is documented. It's not my story. It is his story.
Right. Listen, the problem is actually been going on way before the International Monetary Fund. Communism and socialism doesn't work. They tried socialism in this country when the first pilgrims came over here, Kenneth.
They have never ever tried socialism in this country. You know how I know they never tried it? Because if they would have tried it, it would have worked.
It doesn't work.
That is the reason why whenever Bernie
people, it doesn't work.
That is the reason why whenever Bernie Sanders opened up his mouth, they thought that he's a communist. He's gonna give everything away. You have to understand what communism is.
All right, so let me ask you something, Kenneth. If you do some overtime, right? How would you like it if 95% of your check was just taken away in overtime? Would you want to go do the overtime anymore?
I don't do overtime, but I understand your question. I understand your question. Okay, the answer is no. I would not like that at all. And I'll be very, very clear. In this country, like I said before, you use this country, you use their economic system against itself to further your agenda. That's the bottom line.
History says that communism and socialism doesn't work.
Yeah, his story says that, not my story.
It doesn't work. Not my story. It's been tried already. It doesn't work.
My story doesn't say that, sir. His story says that, not my story.
And so all the immigrants that's actually coming over here for the past over 150 years actually said it doesn't work too, Kenneth. They said it too, not just history.
Did I not just tell you that in other people's countries, they have been economically broken so that the people in those countries cannot afford to stay there. They would die. So why stay and die when you can go to another country that's economically set up and all you got to do is work as hard as you possibly can? That is the reason why when people come.
Exactly.
But you are forgetting the fact that America has broken countries so that the people can no longer stay there to survive. That's why they're coming to America.
They've been coming here way before the International Monetary Fund was established, Kenneth. Communism and socialism doesn't work.
Well, you have the right to say that, sir.
I'm giving you facts. I mean, all I want is the truth, man. That's all I want.
What you're giving me is that which you've been taught and trained. What I'm telling you that if black people were in this country, and we were sold as product under capitalism, no black person should use capitalism the way that white man is teaching them to use it. We must use capitalism to have our own. Okay, one thing about capitalism is that it never allows you to have your own. If black people were to have our own, a nation within itself, okay, a nation within itself, to have our own, because we ain't going back to Africa because we built this country. Had it not been for slavery, America would not have been built. The White House now.
I think black people own a lot here, Kenneth. There's a lot of people that actually own private property. They own stuff here, man. This is not.
Look, white people own land. Land. Land.
And so does blacks. Listen, I mean, quite the contrary. There's a lot of successful black people in this country that owns land, Kenneth. I get what you're saying, but in terms of big mega corporations and
the very White House that Donald Trump, that fake president, is in there right now, that White House was built by black people, okay? And they had the nerve to call it the White House. It was built by black people and they had the nerve to call it the White House.
Barrett, your response to all this, man. You've been relatively quiet, man. We got to get you a chance.
Listen, this is the point in that I try to I'll say avoid, but I've chosen in my personal life just to see what I need to see, and that's, can I survive in this world? I've had this conversation with a few people today, especially a good friend of mine, about we going through a situation with Trump and what Trump is trying to do to try to regain his position in the White House, and we're not gonna get into all that. I'm just saying that has my life changed with Trump in office or with Biden? The answer is no. My life has not changed. It's been pretty even, Steven. And about socialism and things like nature, it probably doesn't work. But the bottom line,
yeah, listen, nobody not stopping you from doing anything. If you want to start something, you can do it, Kenneth. Nobody's stopping you from doing that here. And nobody's saying, oh, because you're black, you can't own a business, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. Nobody's saying that. Back then they were saying that. Now that's definitive racism right there. But right now, nobody's actually saying that.
Do you think racism has stopped, sir?
Racism will never stop.
I think
will never stop.
It's still there. It's still there. But again, that's
okay. Stop.
That actually
I asked you a question.
I said on last week's show, we weren't born racist, Kenneth. If you were 3 years old and there was another white 3-year-old there, you would be playing with that white kid.
Okay, what's the best question now? What is racism, guys? What is racism?
I don't know, because I'm not a racist, man. I mean, I just look at it.
No, you don't have to be a racist to know what racism is.
Yeah, I guess hating a person because of their color or their religion, in a sense, though.
Everything that we kind of represent, whatever it was within race or within religion or whatever, finances, what have you, 400 years, right? Wasn't it a point in time before then that we were basically the ones that we weren't enslaved? We were the ones doing things. We were the ones responsible for Alexander Graham Bell and all these guys, right? We were the ones that were doing things. So why would that be a problem for them now moving forward? What this alleged power they have? This alleged power that they're more fearful of losing. No one's talking about what happened in Charlottesville. I don't understand this. I mean, the way things went down in Charlottesville was the worst that I've seen in my life as an individual. People getting ran over by cars. For what? The Ku Klux Klan showed up down there in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's racism right there. They were all there for what? For a person of color. They didn't like a person of color. I walked through there, you walked through there, we were getting shot at, or we were getting ran over a car, but for what? Because of what I represent as a man of color, a black man, a strong black man, or a strong black woman. We are the ones getting attacked. And these people who are attacking us, at the end of the day, don't even know why they're doing it. So you ask the question again, what is racism? They can't answer the question.
I don't know why we hate each other, because like if you have a black cat and a white cat, or a black dog and a white dog, it's still a dog, right? It's just a different color.
Our blood is all red, brother. Our bones are white and our blood is red.
Well, our blood is actually blue, and it just turns.
It's blue if it comes out too fast, brother. It's blue if it comes out too fast. But go ahead.
I gave a statement of a definition of what racism is. I'm going to do it again, but give you a story. Okay, Racism is not a question of attitude. Racism is a question of power. Now, if this story was told to me, and I'm going to tell it to you now, there was a black farmer and a white farmer right after Reconstruction. Okay, they both had horses. Okay,
right.
White man came home. Wife was sitting there crying. Say, honey, what's wrong? She said, the horse is sick. Okay, I think he died. They live right next door to a black family. The white man grabbed his gun, walked over, shot the horse of the black family, came back home, put his gun back up. The kid said, why would you do that? The wife was, why would you do that? And he looked at them with tears in his eyes and said, I had to kill their horse. And they said, why? Because if I didn't, we would have been the new niggers. And see, that's what it is. It's a question of power, okay? They must always have more. We must always have less. We cannot be equal with them. That is the reason why this system of white supremacy must be destroyed. I have been called an extremist, but I am dealing with extreme situations. Okay? Right. We have to speak truth to power. You can kill the revolutionary, but you cannot kill the revolution. At the end of the day, we have no other choice but to speak out against injustice. What Colin Kaepernick is doing is speaking out against injustice, and he is paying a price for it.
Right. You don't want, and I mentioned the power. You exemplified it. Thank you very much. That's where we are. The power they don't want to lose. Thank you very much, Kenneth.
And understand something. If they lose the power, then they begin the path on justice. Because now everything has to be equal, but they don't want equality. They want inequality. That's what they want. They want inequality. You know, many years ago, I had a conversation with a liberal, and a Republican conservative came to me and said these words: the Democrats will always want a permanent underclass of people. They want a permanent underclass of people. In essence, they want them dumb. They don't want them to do anything. Why? Because they can be used for votes. Okay? Okay?
Right.
It legitimately is about being equal, but they don't want equal. The power structure of white supremacy will always say we must be on top. That's just the bottom line. So all of these things that we're dealing with, you know, sometimes I feel like a broken record, so I'll just repeat it. Okay, I'll get right back to the sports stuff. Players are cattle, owners are ranchers, and ranchers can always get more cattle. Okay? Sports and politics are one. To ignore this is to ignore the importance and influence that sports have. Black people remain an afterthought only because those in power are the same people who ignored racism for years. The same is true in sports as it is in society. Racism is not a trend. Racism is a permanent stain on our society and an enduring part of the sports that we are in. Sports do not build character. Hear me. Sports do not build character. Sports reveals character.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
I agree.
All right, we're gonna. Any final thoughts on this, guys, before we wrap this one up?
Revolution today, revolution tomorrow, revolution forever.
You know who you actually revolting against, man, and not going against revolting against puppets, man. That's all I gotta say about that, man. Revolution is absolutely great, but if you fighting puppets, it ain't gonna actually get you anywhere, man. It's not.
If I can't get to the puppet master, I'll destroy the puppets.
Hey, they're gonna create more puppets. You know, that's all they'll do. All they'll kill.
You can kill the revolutionary, but you cannot stop the revolution. Remember that.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my boy KM, Kenneth Murray Show, Revolution and Revelation.
Kenneth Murray, absolutely.
Link will be in the description. If you like this video, please comment, subscribe. Definitely smash that like button and share it. You know, because sharing is absolute caring. And when you share, the universe definitely shares back with you. And that's a promise. I actually, coined that right there, man. I'm going to get that trademarked right there, man. But
yeah, pat yourself on the back on that
one. All right, guys and gals. There's some women that watch this too. All right.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.